And now on the line is John O'Callaghan. John, welcome back to Near FM.
Good afternoon, or good morning from Darren. Thank you for having me back on Near FM. It's good to raise these issues. So, a pleasure to be back.
Okay, John, there's been a good bit of news about sulky racing in the media in Ireland in recent times. For the benefit of any of our listeners who don't know what it is and why it is in the news, can you give me a bit of an overview, John, of what sulky racing is and why you have been speaking out on it recently?
Well, just to try and give people who don't know an idea of sulky racing. Sulky racing is engaged in by the traveller community and exclusively by the traveller community. Nobody else indulges in this road racing. And a sulky is a small horse-drawn carriage, a one-seater horse-drawn carriage, which is obviously harnessed to a horse with one rider on the sulky itself. So they're driving, they have these races on public roads, down on our major public roads as well. And they take place every weekend on our public roads. It's completely illegal and it's a dangerous criminal activity. It's going on for years and nothing is being done about it. There are occasional interventions by, we say, a member of the public phones the guards, and a squad car might be sent out while a sulky race is in progress. But these sulky races have convoys of their supporters hanging out of car windows and windows of vans, cheering on and encouraging the sulky drivers. It's a race. There's huge money being invested and bet on these sulky races. For example, there's as much as 50 grand, I'll say it again, 50,000 being gambled on these sulky races. They have heats, they have quarterfinals, they have semi-finals, and they have a final. And these are taking place on our public roads every weekend. So look, it's about time that the road users and motorists in particular were protected from possible serious incidents, possibly a death at some point. Hopefully that never happens. But people are being put at risk. If you're driving along the road, Darren, and you suddenly come across this convoy of cars and vans and the sulky racing coming towards you, and given that they tend to drive 3 to 4 abreast on a public road, well, oncoming motorists must take evasive action. So they suddenly whip over onto the hard shoulder. Now, it's only a matter of time before there will be a serious incident. It's this illegal criminal activity is taking place every weekend. It's been going on for years, and yet the authorities are doing nothing about it.
And it happens all over the country, does it, John?
It happens all over the country, mainly in the Dublin Meath region. It happens elsewhere as well. It happens in Cork and Limerick and other major roads. I mean, last weekend, for example, there were 9 sulky race events on our public roads. The roads used were the M3, the N7, the N20, and the N24. But those are major public roads. And 9 sulky racing events took place last weekend on those public roads, to the best of my knowledge, without intervention from Gardaí. So, you know, these sulky races are advertised in advance on social media platforms. So it's not rocket science for Gardaí and the authorities. I mean, we have the Road Safety Authority, we have the Policing Authority, which has oversight of Garda practice. We have the Garda Ombudsman, right? So there are many, the Road Safety Authority. Why are these organisations, these public state bodies, why are they not putting a stop to these sulky races?
I know you're an animal welfare activist through Dog Advocacy Ireland, but like a big issue with sulky racing is it's not good for the horses, I believe, isn't it? Not?
Absolutely, Darren. Look, there are so many pieces of legislation being broken here. Like the several sections of the Road Traffic Act are being broken for a start. And then when you take the poor horses who are used, and they're usually young horses, as young as 18 months, 2 to 3 years. Those are usually the ages of the horses that are used in these sulky races. Now we have an Animal Health and Welfare Act. We have the Control of Horses Act, which governs all this illegal and criminal activity. Those horses that are being used are only developing. Their limbs are developing. So to use them in an illegal and criminal activity to drive horses harnessed to a sulky on a hard surface is just totally and utterly inappropriate and an abuse and a mistreatment of the young horses. Now, my lovely horse who do Trojan work in terms of rescuing all sorts of animals in this country. My lovely horse have rescued so many sulky horses who have been subjected to serious injury. And those are the consequences of this illegal criminal activity. Young horses being raced on hard surfaces, totally unsuitable, with the resulting injuries, and sometimes the injuries sustained are life damaging.
Yeah, because I believe that I don't know what the word is. That the horse's hoofs or paws, whatever the word is, like the hard ground, the concrete ground from the road is very bad for them, isn't it?
So it's totally bad. The vibration and all of that. Look, I'm not an equine expert, far from it. But even in horse racing, horses are raced on grass or on suitable surfaces. They're not raced on hard surfaces. So to be running these young horses at speed, harnessed to a sulky carriage on our public roads, it's completely illegal in every sense of the word. It's immoral. It's unethical. It should not be happening. They're putting these races and the people who engage in it are putting the lives of the horses and the welfare of the horses at risk. But they're also putting the motoring public and road users at risk every weekend.
Okay, John. Who bears most responsibility for implementing the law? So the sulky, you said sulky racing is actually illegal. Like, who bears most responsibility for implementing the law, John?
Well, there's one law enforcement agency in the state, down, that's on Garda Síochána. So there needs to be a concerted effort by the Garda authority, and that includes from the commissioner down, Commissioner Drew Harris down through the ranks, to address this matter of illegal criminal sulky racing, and to prevent us, to monitor social media, because as I said already, these events are posted in advance on social media. It's not rocket science for the Gardaí to monitor where these events are taking place and to prevent it from happening in the first place.
And now on the line is Martina Kenny from My Lovely Horse Rescue. Martina, welcome back to Near FM.
Thank you so much.
Martina, in the last hour or so, I spoke to John O'Callaghan on this programme on the issue of sulky racing. Can you tell me, this might be a big question, but can you tell me, Martina, of what your experience of sulky racing in Ireland is in terms of your work with My Lovely Horse?
Yeah, I suppose really a lot of people are contacting us about the fact that they may up early on the road, main roads, and they see huge big crowds taking over the whole road, and a few horses on traps speeding down the road, and it's scary, and people are worried about the horse as well. they're sweating, they're going really fast, they look quite young. And the problem is that those horses are young, and our public roads are not a place to have sulky races. And I think it needs the government really to decide on what are you going to do about it at this point, because it's been going on for a long time, but it's getting bigger. And the reason it's getting bigger is because there's a lot of money involved with this. These races have huge, big prizes. So if there's money involved, you know yourself, there's more people want in, and that's the big thing. Some of these sulky horses are even worth a fortune, and then of course you have the sulky horses that the kids or young adults are trying to train or whatever because they want a bit of the action, and those horses are in bits. Their poor legs, they're being passing the road so young with legs that are still developing is really bad for that horse, like really bad. And I know people say, what about racehorses? But racehorses don't pound the road. Racehorses have specialized shoes. Racehorses are on are on tracks that are specialized. So why can't, with all this prize money, the sulky guys build some sort of tracks, really good race tracks, and do, if they're going to do it on something like that. I mean, it's no point in Ireland everybody goes ban, but it's very hard to ban things. But I think if you make something more accessible, and something that doesn't show such cruelty, work together, maybe that will help the situation, because something has to give. And I really think, are we waiting on someone to actually die, like a passerby to die? Obviously I've seen sulkies that have died and nobody seems to be doing anything about that. So it doesn't take an animal to die, but it definitely takes a human to die before the government stand up and go, right, we've got to do something.
Okay, I know that sulky racing is illegal in Ireland. I think you already answered this question, Martina, but who bears most responsibility for not implementing the law on sulky racing, Martina?
I guess it's our government, really. I mean, we all see everybody blames the guards and stuff, and look, at the guards are doing their job, but it's very hard. And we all saw, with the last week or so, how hard it is for the guards. And, you're not dealing with just regular Joe Soaps. These guys are tough guys. Our guards their lives are in danger an awful lot of the time when they confront certain people, and it's not good. So the governments need to put heavy fines on these people. They need to get them into court. They need to prison, or threaten them with prison. All of those things need to be done. I'm not saying that everybody is a bad person. They're not. And there's some people out there that do sulky or has sulky horses that really do love them and treat them very well. The problem is the main roads are not the place for this. It's dangerous for the animal, it's dangerous for the people involved, and it's certainly dangerous for the other people using that main road.